We're live, baby.
We are live. It is 7 o'clock. We are live. I'm going to go ahead and roll right into it. I'm not waiting for the three people that are going to tune in.
Oh, dude, you're getting 10, guaranteed.
Let's go.
Are you kidding me?
All right. If you guys are hopping on, let us know. Say hi so we know you're there. Today we are kicking it with Rich Drew, one of my buddies from way back, right?
Way back.
We met in what, 15?
Yeah,
16?
I really wish you'd had that first video queued up in the garage. Like that would be great.
Well, your wish is my command, buddy.
Get out of here.
All right, I'm gonna put some context to this. All right.
No way.
Actually, before I show this, I should actually show something else. I've got pardon my snail's pace on this, but I do have some stuff I need to show.
I should have known you were gonna have dude. That is legendary right there. God, look at that. No gray in that beard back then.
All right, so here's how this all started. My relationship with Rich. I'm on Facebook, and at the time, Facebook's throwing up all these friends you may know through other friends. And I see this picture. This is his profile pic. And me being a photographer, someone that's into creating content, it caught my eye because I like the lighting. I was like, this guy looks kind of serious. So I
wait, let's be honest, dude. That right calf caught your eye too.
Indeed. So I thought, let me dig a little bit and see what this guy's all about. And I had a cycling background, not in any kind of racing or anything too serious. There's a lot of recreational stuff. And I was like, this guy's kind of serious about his racing. It looks like he's sponsored and he's got some stuff coming up. Maybe I'll reach out to him because at the time I had just bought my first video camera and I needed to test because I needed to get better. I'd never shot video before. So I vetted this guy, reached out to my friend of a friend, how he got connected on Facebook, Jack Tartaro. And I said, hey, let's just store in this dude, Rich Drew. Is he crazy? If I reach out to him, am I going to regret this? Is this guy going to be in my bushes every night? Go, hey, let's go shoot. And he was like, no, he's pretty cool. So we reached out, had a quick conversation, and we met in his garage to do a test shoot. All right. And this is, like you said, what, late 15, early 16, maybe mid 16?
Yeah.
Sometime around then. Actually, let me take a look. This was posted 9 years ago.
Yeah, it had to be early 16, I'm thinking, because it's obviously cold. And I think I already had my bikes, my Giants for the year. So
keep in mind that at this time, Rich is just knee deep in this racing thing.
Yeah.
Right. And he's very serious about it. I said, you've probably got a lot of good information. Let's make some YouTube content to share this information and maybe help other people that want to start racing, give them a leg up on what to do and how to prep.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a series of how-tos and best practices for racing. And this was the very first test we ever did. Now, Rich had been on stage and he was a stripper at one point.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
He was a Ford Motor Company. Yeah. A Ford Motor Company trainer. So he would go to dealerships and he would have to get in front of a large group of people and explain things and teach things. So I figured he would be a natural at this. And this was the first take. I'm going to move this out of that and let's roll. Can you hear it? Oh.
There it is.
Here we go.
Oh, no, we can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
I can't. Can you?
I can hear it.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't. I remember I said it. Look at those 3 bikes looking brand new. My body language is good. I'll go with that.
That's so weird that you can't see it, hear it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll leave the link in the chat in case
Remember,
anybody wants to go watch that.
You put tape on the floor.
Yeah, I put tape on the floor to mark my lighting and to mark my tripod, so
And
we'd always have the right spot when we came
yeah,
back.
yeah. I mean, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's legit, man. Racing, he's for
Meanwhile, I
racing."
had my like $10 Home Depot clamp lights.
I didn't know any better.
All right. Good
Crazy to
times.
think
Good
that was the
times.
first.
And look at us now.
I know.
We're still friends. I still laugh at one of the first car rides that we had. Hold on. Sarah said, so did he nail the first take or was it a disaster? It was a start of a very wonderful thing. We'll leave it at that, Sarah.
Yeah, I nailed that take. Come on now.
So I get in the car with Rich to go to the trail to get some footage. And it's kind of quiet. We don't really know each other. And I go, hey, man, are you like real conservative? Are you like easily shocked if I start cussing and say weird shit? He goes, no, dude, go ahead. I was like, yes. Because I know that was my way of breaking the ice. I was like,
Yeah, that was fun, man. And again, I remember that, dude. That was so. We went and you had talked about, oh no, I've ridden before. Okay. And we were going to get some footage, and you're like, well, I'll just ride your bike. And we went to a pretty spicy trail, and
yeah,
dude, you came ripping down and hit this big giant jump, and your feet flew off. And the people there didn't know. I swear those guys thought,
he's doing a Superman.
He's like a Superman no footer, like crazy.
Meanwhile, I was holding on for dear life. All right, let's dig into a little bit about your past, man. A lot of people, I think, at this point in the game, everybody knows you as the educator and the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a little bit removed from your racing scene, and not a lot of people know about your past, mm-hmm. where you grew up, where you're from, because everybody just assumes you're from Bentonville. And then you say, oh, actually, I lived in Dallas. They're like, oh, really? And then before that, you're like, oh, Arizona.
Yeah.
And before that, where were you? Where were the roots?
I was born in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
My family comes from the East Coast. And when I was about 2, we moved all the way across the country to Southern California. So from 2 to 14, I grew up in the heart of Southern California. It was amazing. You know, the 80s into the early 90s in SoCal were very transformative for me in my life. And that's a key component to why I'm where I'm at today. Like Southern California during that time, you were outside on a bike almost all day, every day. Like the weather was never bad enough to not be out on a bike.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it's a very bike-centric area. I think for the most part, excuse me, you were born in what year?
78.
78. I was born in 79. I think anybody from our era essentially grew up around bikes quite a bit, because I see that all the time now. When I take the kids to school, I look and the bike racks are empty. But when we went to school, everybody was on a bike.
Dude, and it was a sense of freedom. Like to go do things, you needed to be on a bike. And you talk about school. You know, my brother's 7 years older than me. My sister is 8 years older than me. And they weren't around a ton. We didn't hang out when I was young. And my parents
age gap.
So Rob's 7 years older. My sister's 8 years older. And so when I was 7, basically second grade, you know, Rob's 14. He didn't want anything to do with me.
Right.
My sister was the same way, but my parents were at work and I had to get to school. So I rode my bike, and it was pretty far, dude. It was probably 4 miles one way. And I remember this one day that I get called into the principal's office. The principal says, hey man, you can't be riding your bike to school. You have to be in 4th grade to ride your bike. And without skipping a beat, I said, but I am.
But I'm doing it.
Yeah. And he basically looked at me and he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm riding my bike to school. Like you say, I have to be in 4th grade. I'm doing it. Why would I have to be in 4th grade?
Yeah.
And he just got this look on his face and shook his head and he said, all right, fine, whatever. And that was it, dude. Like I rode everywhere. I would wake up before the sun came up, wait for the sun to come up, and I would go ride. And I'd fuel myself on gummy bears, and I'd follow my brother as much as I could. and there were a lot of places where we had jumps built. And so I'd get to hang out with him. And as I got a little older, it grew into me being the test dummy for some of these big jumps. And those were very important years for me in my development on a bike.
In that time when Rob was essentially just sending you off into the wind to test things for him, how much of it was just kids being kids, or was he actually pretty methodical about it and broke things down? You guys were already kind of taking it a step beyond what normal people do. Because,
it was normal for us. Like the crowds, the circles we ran in, people were high level bike riders.
yeah,
And he was really good. His friends were really good. And I wanted to be good. I wanted to be them. And my way to get there was to prove to them that I could hit these big, giant jumps. And when you're doing it at 7, 8, 9 years old, you're not really thinking much about the consequences.
right.
And all it takes is a couple of them to work. And then you're brimming with confidence, dude. It's like, I can't do any wrong. And I mean, there were times where I'd wake up going, what happened? And it just, that was part that was normal back then. I remember I crashed one time with this jump set up in the street, and the streets back then were like 80 grit sandpaper, dude.
Right.
I landed on my face. Like I never even got my hands off the handlebars, and I scraped the whole side of my face off. And I rode home crying. My brother was laughing. And my sister was picking all like the little dirt things out of my face. And I remember my mom, it was summer. And so she kept putting me in the pool, and I kept jumping in the pool, and it would turn all green and it healed.
Nice.
And that's how it went, man.
So even then, you guys had intent behind even doing all the crazy stuff. You wanted to get better. There was a purpose to it. It wasn't just, let's see if this works or not. It was like, we want to make it work and then make it bigger and keep going.
Yeah. Especially when we got into moto. I didn't realize it then, but all Rob wanted to do was race motocross.
Yeah.
And when I was 8, I woke up on Christmas morning and Santa brought me a dirt bike. And, that again was very transformative. And yeah, we got into racing motocross, and he was a little bit more methodical there. Like I'd have to do turning drills in the parking lot. And then when I got on the track, I'd have to ride it standing up in first gear, then second gear. So that's where there started to become more structure for me at a very young age. And I hated it. I did not like it. I did not appreciate I didn't see the benefit in it until many years later.
Now, at that age, this is pre-high school, pre-college, your friend groups there were all on bikes, and they all had the same mentality.
Yeah.
They're like, let's just go ride this and make it gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, you're riding with a group. It's much like a CrossFit gym where you just kind of fall into this group of people where you're all somewhat similar. People have their strengths and weaknesses and whatnot, but everybody lifts everybody else up.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was. Like everything for us revolved around bikes and building jumps and riding and having the old school VHS camera out, making rad tube. Yeah. It was really important. And when I was 8, I remember my mom said, "You're going to play baseball." And I'm like, "Baseball? What?"
And no interest, never played it before.
No.
She just threw you in.
She just threw me in. I thought, this is dumb. And somebody told me to be a catcher. And I didn't know what the hell it was. But dude,
that's not an easy position either.
I fell in love. I fell in love with it. And that was the start of a long run where baseball was competing with riding bikes.
Were there any other sports that ended up competing with bikes?
Nope, just baseball. That's all I really cared about.
Bikes.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of really all I knew. And my mom was really into baseball. So like one year, I was playing Little League, and there was like an extra team they made, and there was no coach for it, like full Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
So my mom became the coach, dude. We were the Expos, the laughing stock. It was so bad. And I was a major asshole. Like there's no other way to describe it, dude. I was such a little punk because
your mom was a coach.
No, just because I was so emotional. I was so passionate. I was really good. I'd try to run around and play every position, and a lot of the kids on my team weren't good, and I was super mean to them. I remember, dude, I can't believe this. I was in 5th grade at the time, and there was a fly ball hit, and this kid dropped it. And I screamed at him, "You idiot!" in front of everybody, in front of his parents. And dude, his dad stood up in the stands and yelled, "Kick his ass!" And I was like,
What?
yeah, dude. Yeah. I remember one time I was catching, and this was a year before that.
Yeah.
And somebody hit a foul ball, and I didn't pull my mask off to look for the foul ball. And my manager yelled at me, this guy, Paul Adair. Paul was gnarly, dude. Paul was a big dude. He was a hockey ref. And I lost it, dude. I lost it. And I said, "You come out and catch then." And I took my helmet off and threw it off and did my gear and hopped on my bike and took off. My mom was just mortified, dude.
That's hilarious.
Oh God, it was. It really was.
Did you play any other sports in high school?
So we leave Southern California and go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I go to Phoenix and I'm trying to ride my bike around. And dude, it's blazing hot. And it's kind of funny. When I got there, I had a cast because I had a broken hand because I got in a fight. And I punched some dude in the face and broke my hand. And I didn't know anybody. So I went to my first day of school and everybody was playing football. You know, Arizona, everybody's into football. It's similar to Texas, not as gnarly. And I thought, man, maybe I should just play football. That's how I can make some friends. And at that point, my mom hadn't left Southern California. She was still living there, and it was just my dad and I. She was going to be coming in a couple months. She was winding down her job at the time. And so my dad's like, "Whatever, dude, I don't have to deal with you. Play football. That's great." So I played football. My mom freaked out. And you got to understand, the high school, like, we got a house in this neighborhood so I could go to this specific high school because the head baseball coach was a catcher for the White Sox. So that's how gnarly my mom was about this.
She's like, "You're going to the MLB, son."
Totally, dude. And so I play football and she's not happy with my dad, dude. She's super angry. And I dig it. Like, it was just fun, man. You know, football's fun. And I didn't know much about it, but I got into it and I had some fun. I played free safety and I was pretty decent. And the first game my mom comes to, at the end, dude, goal line stand, all out blitz. And dude, I come charging in and tackle the ball carrier right before he gets
before the goal line.
Yeah. And so, like, we kept going lower and lower and lower, and boom, we hit him. And as soon as we come down and I hit him, I start screaming. And dude, everybody's freaking out because they think I hurt my neck. Yeah. Well, when I tackled him, one of my teammates stepped on my ankle and broke my ankle. Damn. And so I'm freaking out. They're like, don't move. And I said, "No, it's my ankle." And so my mom got really upset. She said, like, "That's it. No more football." And I'm like, "All right, cool. No more football." But I still rode my bike, dude. I rode my BMX bike everywhere. And baseball season came around, and I had a good baseball season. So I threw out, as a freshman catcher, I think I threw out almost 90% of people who tried to steal.
Dang, son.
Yeah. And I had a really good command of the game. And so I understood it. And so as a catcher, I was really good at managing everybody.
Yeah. And
it worked really well. Well, the next year, the football coaches corner me and they're like, "Hey, man, we know you're all into baseball. The two can coexist. We really want you to play football." And so they made me feel really cool about myself and decided, okay, I'm gonna keep playing football. And it was funny because at the same time, I'm racing motocross. So I'd get really into motocross and then I'd have to play baseball. Well, then I'd get back into motocross and then it was football. And I was trying to balance them and it was really tough. And kind of high school went that way. I ended up tearing my MCL 1 year playing football. And so then I stopped playing baseball at that point. I was kind of over it. And it was just one of those things.
How were you getting around to practices?
On my bike until I could drive. Yeah, dude, I rode everywhere. I rode my BMX bike all over the place.
So when you're doing all this in high school, how did that change your friend groups and the way you rode? Were you still riding just for fun, or were you riding?
Yeah, it was interesting, dude, because none of my high school friends were into bikes at all. They just they didn't get it. And so, I'd still race motocross, and that was more my brother and I.
But at this time, were you riding bikes at all with Rob, or was
No,
this all
not
you?
really. Nah, not really. It was mostly me. He wasn't really into bikes at that point. And I didn't get back into it until a few years later. So
Okay.
when I was a senior in high school, this guy, a buddy of mine at school, his name was Andy Contes. And Andy was a factory GT BMX racer. Like he was really, really good. And the conversation came up and I'm like, yeah, dude, I raced BMX for forever. And, I'd love to, I'll go ride with you. And he's like, really? Yeah. And I showed up and I'm like, dude, yeah, I used to love to do knack-knacks and all that stuff. And he said, get the hell out of here. And so I ripped through the track and threw a big knack-knack. And he's like, whoa. And I hadn't raced BMX for a couple of years ever since I left Southern California. And then I just decided, boom, let's go. And I started racing BMX again.
So what was the transition like to college? Where'd you go?
So it was interesting because I was into football, and when I was a senior, a lot of my friends were chemically aided, and I was like, nah, I'm not, there's no need for it. They had bigger aspirations. Well, after high school, I thought, you know what? Because I played high school against, remember Adam Archuleta?
Yeah.
Okay. So he was at Chandler. They were our rival. And we all went to Arizona State. And all of a sudden, dude, Adam, after senior year, put on about 35 pounds when we rolled in as freshmen. Whoa. And he was really good. So I thought, dude, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could walk on. And I had started working at a gym, so I was all into training. And I got pretty big. Well, I thought I need to get fit. Like I need like fast twitch sort of fitness.
Yeah.
Like, dude, racing BMX is perfect. And so I got back into racing BMX at like 215 pounds. And I was just into it, dude. And I would go all the time, just more for the conditioning aspect of it. But it was really fun. And the track I was racing at had some really interesting like features, the way it was built. And I had some lines that nobody had. Like I'd pedal through the inside of turns. Yeah. And people could not understand it. And so crowds started gathering, watching me do this stuff. And nobody could figure out how I could do it. First, just how I could do it generally. But the fact that I was so big, and then it became comical because I'd literally lift people off the track with my arms. I'd come into a turn and just throw them right off.
That's funny. Now, in the time from transitioning out of college into having to be an adult, was there a specific point where you wanted to take the cycling beyond what you were just doing recreationally? Like, did you see racing and thought, man, that looks cool, I want to try it? Like, what was the catalyst that turned it from recreation to a sport for you?
It's funny, dude. It at that point, I look back and think, why didn't I? Like at that point in time, downhill was becoming a thing, and I laughed. I'm like, dude, that's dumb. I wasn't going to race cross country because that was.
Why'd you think it was dumb?
I don't know. I didn't think it didn't look hard.
Like, is this when they were still wearing spandex?
No, this was right after that.
Okay.
Like in like, because you got to think 97, 98, 99. This is past Home Act.
Yeah.
This is when they're wearing baggy
and everything.
No, they're wearing baggy stuff. They're hitting cool things, but
this is the Pete and Palmer era.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when Palmer did it, I was kind of into it, but I don't know, dude, it was weird because I think back, I was never that into it. And I always had mountain bikes. I remember I went to, was it Supergo? What was the big chain? There was Performance Bike, but before that, it was something else.
I don't remember. I didn't jump into the scene till much later than that.
Well, I went and bought a bike from that place, and you could finance it.
Like layaway?
I financed a full suspension Haro. Nice. And I started riding that up in South Mountain, and I was into it, but it never occurred to me to go race. And I don't think about it. And I rode it. I got a road bike. I was on the road bike a lot. I still rode BMX a lot. And just life went on, and I worked with Rob at the shop, and then that ended, and I started traveling in the automotive marketing space. But when I did that, we would travel to all these towns, and there was semis that would bring our whole setup. And so I bought a BMX bike and threw a BMX bike in the truck. And any downtime I had, I'd be riding around wherever we were on my BMX bike.
Now, everything that we've talked about so far is in regards to the cycling side has been knobby tires and dirt. What was this?
Man. So it's funny. You're jumping ahead. I like this. I moved to Dallas. So I meet Sarah working in Dallas and I end up moving there. We get married and there was this brief hiatus of riding. She had no clue that bikes really played any role in my life.
Yeah.
Well, not long after that, I bought a road bike and then I bought a mountain bike. My buddy Jason had a mountain bike. So I bought a hardtail aluminum Orbea and no aspirations other than just cruise around North Shore with this guy.
What made you buy it in the first place?
He had one.
Okay.
He had a carbon one. And I'm like, I don't need a carbon fiber bike. Like I'd never had a carbon fiber bike. And so I get this bike and I was riding at Oak Cliff with my buddy John. And it was
for those that don't know, he's speaking about trails out in Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas trails. Mm-hmm. And I'm riding with my buddy John, and this thing's quick release in the rear. Well, it came out of the dropouts and stayed attached in the chain. And I went to pedal. And dude, I bent the whole rear triangle. And so I took it back to Clarence at Mad Duck.
Yeah.
And he said, wow, I've never seen anything like this. Crazy. We could probably get him to warranty it. Well, this process took forever. And then at the end of 2013, Rob had gotten into riding and he had a few different bikes. Well, he had a Santa Cruz Tallboy.
Yeah. And
so he traded me the Tallboy and some cash for a car that I'd had, a 65 Buick or something. And so I get this Santa Cruz Tallboy and I'm like, yeah, dude, this is rad. And I put this thing together and I had to go to the bike shop for something. And that's when it happened, dude. I saw the flyer for the Dorba Fall Cross Country Series. And I decided I didn't want to race category 3 because I wanted to do more laps. And I thought, dude, I'm really good. I'm doing CrossFit. I'm pretty fit. I'll be okay. And so I signed up. I emailed them to say, hey, can I race category 2? And they're like, whatever, dude, do what you want. On mountain bikes, they don't care. And so I show up with my sleeveless jersey and baggy shorts, racing.
Guns were out, dude.
Full Lycra, aero helmets, and I got smashed.
What were you thinking at that time? You're like, how is this possible?
No, I'm thinking this is so dumb. Why did I do this? You know, I took off full BMX style, power wheelie, was crushing it, and then everybody passed me. But what was crazy was I passed a lot of people back in the turns. And I realized these people are horrible bike riders, but they're very fit. And so I was upset first, but then I realized I need some specific fitness. So I got on the road bike and just started doing a ton of road miles. And I remember there was a break, there was rain. So there was a break in the races. And I did that first race, got 13th. The next race, I was way more dialed, dude. And I almost got third.
Oh, so you said there was a break, he had more time to train.
Correct. Yes. There was the first race. There was a decent amount of time. There was a second race at Rowlett Creek. And I was in third and my legs cramped. And I got fourth. And dude, I remember looking at the podium just being so angry. Like I should be on that. Well, then the next 2 races, I think, got canceled because of the rain.
Yep.
And dude, I was logging huge road miles. And so we went to the last race at Cedar Hill. And I was in the zone, dude. And as soon as the race started, I knew I was going to win. And there's like the opening kind of lap almost, and then it cuts into the single track. And right when it cuts into the single track, I cruise by Sarah, and she's filming. And dude, I had the shit-eating grin on my face, like, this is it. And I just smashed it. I took off. Nobody ever saw me, and I won. And it was just a big deal. Like, I remember thinking, this is really cool. And then everybody's talking about, oh, Timbra, dude, you got to do a state championship. And so that was my focus. And so next year I won the state championship. And what's funny is this is the race that I won it at. And so,
okay,
dude, I'm racing this Santa Cruz Tallboy. And it's not like a legit race bike. And so I keep telling Clarence, dude, I need that other bike. And what he was going to do was upgrade me to carbon because it took so long. Well, long story short, Orbea had a bunch of issues. And by this time, dude, I'm doing well racing. Dude, he started carrying Focus They gave me that bike.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, it was so rad. That thing was a missile, man. I loved it. And that was the race right there where I clinched the state championship. So then the next race, I moved up to Cat 1 and rode Open Pro at Warda. It was called the High Noon Shootout.
Nice. So what did you so there's a point where you transition out of that kind of racing and you end up doing what's called enduro.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, gravity was more what I was into. Like, I appreciated cross country because my technique, the technique helped me. Like, being a good rider helped me. I wasn't as fit, I wasn't as light, but if I could make up a few tenths of a second between, in turns, that would be a big advantage. And I appreciated that part of it and I liked it. And that was prevalent. Like, at that point in time, there really wasn't much enduro in and around Texas.
Yeah.
And being in that cross country scene, that's where I got introduced to Brian Foley, and he talked about the Southern Enduro Tour. And so in 2014 and then 2015, I basically was a pro cross country rider trying to do as much enduro as I possibly could. So then when the Southern Enduro Tour started in 2016, I put all my chips into that. And I was trying to get some support, and it was hard to come by. And then I met Brad Woolsey. I actually met him at that.
Woolsey.
I met him at that first race I did at RCP, and I knew he was the giant guy. And I'd done a lot to this point. Like, I tried to start leveraging social media as early as I could. I had some pivots. I had some help from Pivot, and that wasn't working out the way I wanted. And I just happened to talk to Brad, and he's like, dude, I'd love to put something together. And I mean, dude, he put together a great deal through Plano Cycling, and I got 3 bikes, dude. Yep. So in 2016, I had a Rain, I had a Trance Advanced, and an Anthem Advanced.
Yeah, I remember they were blue in your garage. I was like, holy shit, this is like $40,000 worth of bikes right in front of my face.
Dude, I remember the deal. Like, he set this meeting up with Kyle, the manager of Plano Cycling and Fitness. And I went in like, here's my list of things I want. It's not going to happen. And I said, I need 3 bikes. And he's like, oh yeah, totally, dude, done. He's like, what about like shoes and helmet and all that? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that'd be great.
Of course.
That was crazy, dude. I thought that was it. I thought I'd made it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what were you doing initially to get support, and why do you think it didn't work?
Well, looking back, I'm not going to say it didn't work. I coming from the moto background, I had a solid understanding of sponsorship and how it worked in that realm. I wasn't quite sure how it worked around mountain bikes, but I figured it was very similar. And at that point in time, Instagram and social media were growing and becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. And what I tried to leverage was my ability to speak well. So being a product trainer in the automotive industry, I had to communicate. And so as an older rider and somebody who could ride pretty well, I felt like I could get results, but I could more educate on the product. Yeah. So I could, through my posts about racing, educate on the giant product or like the MRP fork on that bike.
What you're using and why you're using it, as opposed to just, this is what I did.
Yeah. Finding a way to weave it in organically so it's not so overt. And Pivot was more racing, dude. Like, they didn't care about that. It was racing. You need to race and you need to win. And it just, it wasn't working out. Like, I could get a deal on bikes, but at that point I felt like I don't think I should have to pay for bikes.
Now this pic right here, when was this? Can you see that?
Yeah. That was the end of 2016.
Now, when you showed up to the races like this, where people are like, oh, damn, what is this?
Oh, dude, completely.
This guy's legit.
So check it out. In 2016, at the first race, I remember somebody coming up to me and saying, hey, man, I've been watching what you're doing. And dude, you're just a pro. Like, you're a legit pro at this. And it's really cool to see. It was Jeremiah.
Jeremiah Work?
Yep.
J Work.
Yep. And so I was very serious about it in 2016. I won
Yeah.
every single race, dude. Every race. And I did really well. And then so going into 2017, I mentally transitioned out of I don't care. It's not about winning.
Yeah.
I won my championship. It's over. Dex was born at the end. So I couldn't be as serious about it now because I had bigger priorities. So
Yeah.
then what I thought was, no, let me build a more professional facade and use this as a vehicle to promote all of these brands.
So in the midst of kind of discovering all this and
Yep.
giving yourself some sort of a direction, was there ever any thought of, because you did very well in the series, you went back to back championships, didn't you?
No, Jimmy
No,
Smith just barely beat me. Damn
that
it.
jerk, that
Yep.
jerk. But you did well enough to where most people would think, all right, well, I'm going to carry this momentum. I'm going to go to the next bigger series and then turn pro and keep doing this for a living. Was that ever a point?
No,
No.
not in that capacity.
Yeah.
Because I was smart enough to know, dude, I'm approaching 40.
Yeah.
I can't go leverage my bet on BME. Like I raced BME and I did well, dude. I raced Richie Rude, Curtis Keene, all those dudes. And I did really well for somebody coming from Texas.
Yeah.
But you can't race that type of race from Texas. Like you got to go ride in the mountains and live in the mountains. And what I came back to was, no, I could do it for a living potentially, but it's not focused around racing. And I remembered saying to Sarah in that kitchen right there, my racing career or my riding career. And she said, dude, it's just a hobby. And that fired me up.
I was going to say, how'd you take that?
It fueled me even more.
Yeah.
And it was just a very interesting time because I'm working for the Ford Motor Company.
Dex was already born.
Dex was born. Yeah. So Dex wasn't even one when this picture was taken. And, I got support from Zoic. I got the bikes from Giant, support from Ministry 9. The Solomon on there is funny, dude. I did a race at Flat Rock Ranch. Mm-hmm. It was one of Jeremiah's races. And
such a good venue.
It was great, dude. Had fun, won the race. It was awesome. And Jeremiah reached out to me after and he said, hey, man, my buddy Tyler's a rep for Solomon. He'd like to contact you. And I said, okay.
Sure.
And he contacted me and he said, hey, man, I interacted with you a couple times and I followed you around the whole race. And my thought was, this guy needs to be focused on winning this race and making his money. And he said, you weren't, dude. You were engaging everybody. You were super cool. You made other people's races better by doing that. And he said, I was fascinated by that, dude. And he said, can I just give you, I'm going to give you some things? I said, sure, dude. He goes, I want to give you some stuff.
You're like, what's the catch?
Dude, I literally still have some of that stuff from 2017.
Yeah.
He gave me shoes and clothes and packs. Just awesome. So much stuff, dude. Yeah, it was great.
Shout out real quick to Sarah because when I first met her, she was mega prego.
Yeah.
Dude, mega prego. And she was out at one of the races. I think it was Tyler.
It was.
Like here is before I met her. She's already showing the bump.
Yep.
And then when I met her at Tyler, she was probably more like this, dude.
Yeah.
And it was hot. It was not easy to get around. And she's just your supports team. I was like, I guess this chick really loves this dude.
Yeah. It was, man, she put so much effort into supporting it, dude. It's crazy. I had a conversation. I sold a bike earlier and I had a conversation with a dude, and this guy, James, he's an older guy. I mean, he's mid-50s.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, are you tired? Like, are you sick of it? Is it tough? Like, does it feel like it's your job? And I said, no, dude, like, it's amazing. And it has so much to do with her and just the amount of support and believing in it Like, dude,
Yeah.
take a step back. I'm almost 40 and I'm focusing my life on riding bikes.
Yep.
Like, how many wives would go, yeah, bro, come on. That's great, but you need to get your priorities straight.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Sarah because she had to lock down from just being at the race to help you to making all the food and prep work and all that stuff. That's not easy, man.
No, dude. No. And then like when Dex was born, the first 2 years of his life, I was still traveling a ton for work and then
Yeah.
traveling a lot for races. And she was there, dude. Like going to Camp Eagle when he
Yeah,
was
that's
a
out
tiny
in the middle
kid.
of nowhere,
Oh
dude.
God, dude. Yeah. It was rough.
So going back on the getting support from shops and brands and stuff, is there, do you have any takeaways that you'd like to give the younger generation that want to try to get support from shops? Like, what have you seen that was this outright stupid of people to do? Because I've seen people say, "Hey, man, I'm pretty fast. I should get some free bikes." I'm like, that's not how it works, dude.
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble, Andy. It's different now. It's way different now than it was back then
Yeah.
because social media plays much more of a role. And my path was very different than most. And that's where it's hard for me to give guidance or input to people. But what I can say is don't create a facade.
Right.
Like so many young riders try to create this facade or create this persona of who they are. And the challenge with that is, dude, it's too hard. It's too much work to hold that up.
Well, to keep you up to date, what's what the kids call aura farming these days.
Ah, okay. I didn't realize that. Well, I just come back to you don't need to farm what you have.
Yeah.
If you have it and you are it, you don't need to farm it and be it. Don't talk about it, be it. And
Yeah.
and that's I think what people want. It's such a crazy time, dude. Like support is hard to come by and you have to do more than wear a shirt and tag people and make
Yeah.
reels with rap music on them. There's more to it. It's value. What value can you provide?
Mm-hmm.
And I think be real, but at the same time, you have to appreciate, like, you know, I see a lot of Instagram posts with these kids. They spend so much time trying to create this persona of them being a big deal,
Yeah.
and they're not. And it's like, you're not what you're writing about. You're spending all this time curating this Instagram post about how your team and all these people in your corner and it just didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a shit? Richie Rude doesn't do that. If he wins, oh man, great job. Went great. Thanks to the team. If he doesn't, yeah, I didn't have the greatest day, but man, I'm out racing bikes. Done. End of story.
Yeah. It's
It's
really
not,
funny seeing the difference in personalities where people don't have the best days and the ones that do. It's like this freaking 3-page essay story of why it didn't work out for them that day. I'm like, dude, no one,
well,
like, bottom line, no one really cares about that much. You can have
no.
some time to sulk about it, but dude, come on. It's
Well,
not
and
that big
and
of a deal.
what gets me is if it's not your career, like if you're not getting paid,
Yeah.
why are you getting so fired up? Like 2017 was a prime example. I didn't care, dude. I didn't care about winning. I was just going to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I did almost as well in 17 as I did in 16. But dude, in 16, if I had a bad run or like a bad stage, dude, I'd be so angry and it would just eat me alive. In 17, I didn't care. But then I'd look around and listen to these people just being pissed, screaming expletives at the end. And I'm thinking, dude, you're in an age group category. Why
You
are
paid to be here.
exactly? Why are you getting so fired up? And I
Yeah.
just think it circles back around to getting support. Go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Go do it. Don't try to get support. Go do what you're doing. Go be the athlete you want to be.
Yep.
Represent yourself. Create a pedigree. Then you can go to people and say, "This is what I've done." And that was my thing. It's not this is what I'm going to do. It's this is what I've done. This is who I am. Would you like to work together to build something?
Yeah, I think a lot of these kids just see the end result and they think that if I can just be fast or be cool, that brands are going to jump on. Where brands are not looking at you as a results driven avenue for them. It's more about selling the brand and the lifestyle. And
Yeah.
if you're not representing the lifestyle or the brand in the right way, they're not going to want to help you because you can't help them.
Well, that's true. And the other thing is, what tends to happen is some of these young athletes sell a bill of goods. There's that saying, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And what I've told many people is not if you don't have what it takes to make it.
Yeah.
If you know you have what it takes to make it, great, fake it. I've been there, I've done that. But I'll tell you what, dude, I knew going in, I would make it. I had everything it took to make it. If you don't, that house of cards comes crumbling down.
So you've been racing for a few years at this point, doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You've got great relationships with brands and people in the industry. Was there a specific moment or incident that made you think maybe I should turn this into a vocation? I can make money outside of just racing, and
Yeah.
let me develop something so I can monetize this experience for myself.
Yeah, it wasn't that calculated, but it was. So I won that first cross country race, or I did really well on my first pro cross country race.
Yeah.
And that was the impetus for it. It was like this light switch. Now I'm a pro cross country rider. And what people couldn't escape was how quickly I ascended. So in 6 months, I basically started and then was riding pro. And people couldn't understand that. And that was, I think, where the ride series started, because people asked for help. And so I started doing clinics on at a very low level, and that slowly started to build out. And it was always a side hustle. I never looked at it as growing into a business. And while all this was happening, part of where I was traveling as a product trainer for the Ford Motor Company was Bentonville, Arkansas. And so when I come up here,
What year is this? Just to get
So,
reference.
I mean, dude, 2011 was when I first came here.
Man, that's early.
Very early. So we're talking, I mean, dude, when I started racing bikes, I was coming up here.
Yeah.
So 16, 17, I'm racing and I'm coming here, and I have Monday to drive, Tuesday to work at the dealership, and Wednesday to drive home. Well, this particular dealership was very particular about, hey, dude, we'll get you everybody at 8 in the morning, and you have 8 to 10. Can you train everybody in those 2 hours? I said, you bet. You know I can. So I'd have Monday, Tuesday, and some of Wednesday to ride. So I'd come up here, I'd ride, I'd make content. Dude, nobody knew that I was a product trainer for the Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to tell anybody. So I wasn't lying, but they thought, dude, this guy's coming up here to train. And so I built this presence kind of in this community before I ever lived here.
Yeah.
And in 17, Garrett Hubbard reached out about coming up and doing a clinic for his group. And dude, he vetted me hard. And we went up and did that clinic, and that made a big deal. That made a big impact on him and his team, and they were the best. And so that's when I thought, man, I think maybe there's something here. Like maybe I could do this. And I didn't formulate any sort of a plan, dude. It was passion. It was dumb luck. And I pitched Sarah. I mean, come on, dude. Let's leave your 6-figure career at Sewell Lexus, my 6-figure career as a product trainer for the Ford Motor Company, and let's move to Arkansas. And she was all in, dude. She was all in. And so we did it. We moved here. There was no plan. Literally, dude, no plan. We're going to make enough money on our house that we can live for a year and just figure it out.
Was your collarbone still broken at that time?
So right before we were going to move, I crashed and dislocated my shoulder. Grade 5 separation. And I had to have a reconstruction.
Yeah, I remember the sling.
Not good. Yeah, it was a rough way to start it. That made it pretty difficult. Like, she was already stressed about it. And then the fact that I'm supposed to be teaching people how to ride bikes and I crash and break myself.
So that experience with Garrett and the team basically kickstarted off TRS?
No, it was already there, but I think it solidified it a bit more and
took it to the next level.
Yeah, it kind of forced me to do something with it.
Now, this is what, 2000, you said 17, 18?
18.
You'd already been running Ride Series clinics in Dallas for at least a year and a half or two, no?
A couple actually. Yeah. Like it started at 15. So I'd had a few. It was slowly starting to grow. I bought the land waves. I bought some hoppers. There was something there.
What were you thinking in those early days?
I mean, I wasn't really. I was just thinking I can do this for a while and make a few bucks and help some people. And then when we were going to move here, I thought it would still be not necessarily a side hustle, but I thought there would be something. I would find something, some role to land in that would provide the bulk of the income. And I could just slowly build out what the ride series looked like.
Now, was the transition to Bentonville difficult for you?
Not for me, dude. It was great. Like I had already had a presence here so much. I knew so many people that I plugged right in and I was very welcomed. It was really challenging for Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had no friends. She was not into cycling at all. And everything we did revolved around cycling.
Around bikes.
Yep.
And the early days of her trying to get on the bike was unfortunately with just you. And that it doesn't always work out.
No, the dynamic. It was bad. It was bad in Dallas. It was bad here. And I had not formulated enough of a background in teaching effectively to be able to teach her. And thankfully, an organization called Women of Oz was created to try to get more women on bikes. And those were her people. And she found that. And that was what she needed. So she's
out there logging miles, man.
She's logging miles. She is the executive director of Women of Oz. So she runs it. And it's crazy because she used to be Rich's wife. Now she's Sarah Drew. And that's legit.
Now with the ride series, how has that changed through the years as far as marketing and the difficulties of explaining exactly what it is? Because you were kind of in this early wave of offering a service like that. Because when most people think about riding bikes, they're like, I've been riding bikes all my life.
Yeah.
I've been riding bikes to school. I've been riding bikes to the store. I'm just going to buy a mountain bike. I'm going to go to Bentonville and I'm going to hit the yard and be fine. No one ever thinks, hey, maybe I should get coached on this, because it's something that a relationship with bikes isn't like that. So there's got to be a moment that makes you think about it that way. And if you haven't had that moment, you're not going to look at something like the ride series as of value. So how difficult was that to get that point across? And what have you done? What would you change from the early days on until now?
Well, I'll start by saying I still don't get that point across. I can't get that point across. So getting to this point was naivety. I mean, I realized people needed something. You know, I come into this realm, and within 6 months, I'm riding with the best people there are.
Yeah.
I simply felt that was enough. Like, people should realize this guy obviously has something to offer me, but that wasn't enough for people. And it's a very challenging space, because it's easy for me to say, I'm good on a bike, dude. I'm good on a bike. Like, I have a lot of data that says that. And I think that puts me in a position to say when people aren't good on bikes. But a lot of people won't do that. Everybody thinks they're good, or everybody thinks they're good enough. And the challenge is human nature just doesn't work that way on a bike. It's the worst thing for you. And so in the beginning, I think it was just me feeling like, well, no, everybody needs this. And it was a battle. It was a challenge, because I started to realize most people who've been riding bikes forever would never think of getting taught how to properly ride a bike, because they think they already do, and they don't. Well, then COVID hit. And once COVID hit, dude, it exploded with people from outside of cycling.
Yep.
And they were people that were way more rational because they come from other sports. And
or no sport at all.
No sport at all, or other sports. And those people, I think, have a better mindset, and their thought process is, dude, I got to learn. And even then, 2021, there wasn't a whole lot of options. Not, it wasn't where everybody was a mountain bike coach. And dude, I mean, we'd post a clinic and boom, it was filled.
Full.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was great because people appreciated it and they got a lot out of it. And it helped them grow into becoming much better riders.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up a good point too about the guys that think they already know enough.
Well,
because that's the hardest guy. That's the hardest person to get that point across to, because they feel like it's below them. They don't need it.
Well, yeah. And that's a tough one. Like, I don't know what our current audience is, but Dorba, you and I can appreciate Dorba and a lot of people who are cross-country riders. For the most part,
Dorba, for those that don't know, is the Dallas Off-Road Bicycling Association. It's a local group in Dallas, and they are the ones in charge of making all the trails out here, and everything's volunteer driven. And it's changed quite a bit lately, but when you were still here, it was still very, very XC focused. Like a dropper post was a no-no. Bars that were a certain width were a no-no. They wanted tree gates. So the mentality of someone coming in that's new school and teaching them how to ride when they've been riding for 20 plus years, that's a brick wall that you're walking into.
It is, and it's challenging because I always come back to rational thought process, and a dropper is a prime example. Anybody's opinion on a dropper has no bearing on how well it works or how effective it is. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And so if you don't use your dropper, it doesn't mean a dropper is not a benefit. It just means you're not leveraging its benefit.
Yeah.
It's the same with clips and flats. Like, that's such a foolish debate. Of course, being clipped in is better. You're attached to the bike. But if you can't leverage being attached to the bike, that's an issue that you need to remedy.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like, people do what they've always done. And XC riders, especially longtime XC riders, think about it, dude. They forge technique on bikes that have no place in in today's society, but they haven't adapted. They haven't changed their technique. Think about a weightlifter, dude. A barbell is a barbell. Hasn't changed. You don't need to change. You're doing the same damn thing. But on a bike, no, it's different. And if you don't make the best use of the bike's engineering because your opinion's different, you're leaving a lot on the table.
Yeah. You're not using your tool or your toy that you bought to its fullest. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, with all of your success in racing and getting partners and sponsorships and getting the TRS up and running and being successful, you were one of the early ones that I noticed just by watching you and leveraging social media. Now, most people saw that as, hey, this is an avenue for me to post food pics and cat pics and stay in touch with family. But from the jump when I met you, you were just pushing product, but in a way that was almost like a behind the scenes or a vlog of my journey. So it wasn't quite as in your face, but it would still stick in your head. And I was like, that's always been the most impressive thing for me, to watch you and the way you work. Not just how much effort and how much passion you have for it, but you don't waste any time not using a platform and leveraging it.
Yeah. Well, I think being real is the simplest way. And that question gets asked so much, like, how do you do it? How do you come up with the strategy? It's no strategy. It's just me. This is me. This is what I'm doing.
So when did you first of all, what was the first app you remember using it for this? Instagram?
Yeah.
Now, when you got on Instagram, did you get on that as let me keep up with friends and see what people are doing? Or did you see that as a tool from the
No, it was a tool. It was a tool. Like,
jump.
I got on it because people were on it. But as soon as I started racing, that was a tool. And it comes back to what I said earlier about don't create a facade.
Yeah.
I did, but I knew I would build into that facade.
I mean, your username's The Rich Drew.
Yeah. I mean, and well, what's funny is that came from when I was in the automotive marketing space. We did a lot of stuff for Toyota and the TRD, The Rich Drew. Like, all my coworkers would call me TRD. And so it just stuck, and that's where that came from. And again, there was no strategy behind it. In the early days of posting and whatnot, what I thought was, this is me and this is what I'm doing. A prime example, Scratch. Dude, I
Yeah.
still have a great relationship with Scratch Labs because when I started racing a mountain bike, I was paleo, dude. I can't be dumping
Paleo.
maltodextrin into my belly. Like there was
Yeah.
nothing endurance fuel wise that was anywhere in the realm of paleo. And Scratch was the closest thing I could find. It just didn't have a bunch of crap in it.
Yeah.
And I leaned into that and I shared, this is the reason why I've sought this stuff out and I buy it because I like it. And I happen to know the rep, and the rep hooked me up with some stuff. And that's where this connection was made. And that's how it happened. I did me. I lived my life. And, you know, I did the giant thing and it was great. And then that program had to change.
Yeah.
And I was going to ride for Ellsworth. And you remember, dude, we went out
We
a
shot
video
some
for
stuff.
Ellsworth. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And it looked great. Like the stuff we shot was great. Still some of my favorite pictures. And the contract just was not right. I saw
Yeah.
3 or 4 different contracts. We could never make that work. And it was such just a weird chain of, that's one of my favorite pictures ever, dude. I love that one.
Big cedar back in the day.
So fun. Such a fun line. I loved that helmet. I love that jersey.
Yep.
Triceps look decent. I mean, come on. And I thought this was going to be a big deal. Like it was a legit contract. There was some money, and it didn't work out. And I was really down. And it just so happened, Rob made mention of me having some struggles when he was at Pivot. And Chris Kokalis heard, and he was like, dude, no, he's riding with you. Let's go. And so I was able to sign a factory Pivot contract. And part of it was just because of I stayed the course in my social media and represented brands well. And he appreciated it.
I remember that, dude. Because when you were looking at that contract and everything seemed all right, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't know about Ellsworth as a company.
Yeah.
And their bikes weren't great. And then that Pivot deal came around. I was like, forget that.
Done deal.
This is so much better. Yeah.
Yep.
So when you first started using social to leverage yourself, you did that as a racer. But now, years down the road, I would consider yourself not so much a personality, but more of a media entity now, because that's how you've sold yourself in these deals that you work with, like Visit Bentonville and Discover Bella Vista and all these other municipalities where we've gone and shot stuff. How has that changed the way you attack social media?
I think you have to be strategic to make it viable. Like one of the things you said is success on social media. I mean, I think it depends on what's your barometer of success. Like there's a lot of people I think that have a huge following. Are you getting paid? Are you making a living? You know, I have 14,000 followers on Instagram. I've turned that into a pretty decent living.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even have 60,000 on YouTube. I've turned that into a really good living. Probably more than people who have 10x that subscriber count. And so I think it comes back to create value, be real and create value. And that's probably why we now have been able to do what we can do. And it's tough, dude. It's a double-edged sword because if you being real is not entertaining or provide value to somebody, it's not going to work. You got to figure something else out. And it's unfortunate because there's people out there that want to do certain things on social media, but they're not equipped to. And I feel bad for those people, but you have to find a way to make it work. For example, learn to speak, learn to communicate. Like there is an art to it. And if you take some time and look at people and look at what they do, I think you can pick up on what makes sense and what doesn't. But you have to be very real with yourself.
Yeah, I had a buddy that sent me a video that he shot. They started a podcast, and it's all about running. And I had to be that harsh guy. I was like, dude, you're fine, but your partner needs to learn how to talk, because
Yeah.
every other word is
Like,
and like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. And it's, you, you have to pick a course and stay the course.
Yeah.
I think that's what's tough for people is if you're trying to leverage an algorithm that you don't know how to shift, it can get very frustrating. And for me, it started small. You make an impact on a couple people,
Yeah.
and that has value, and that turns into more people. Dude, I'll give you a prime example. I remember when Chase Smith, the first time he ever reached out to me, I think it was 16 or 17, and he just basically said, "Man, I really enjoy watching what you're doing. I really enjoy seeing your life through your eyes. It's inspiring, man. Thank you for that." And I click on his pictures and I'm like, dude, look at this guy. Like, this guy's pretty legit. And he turns into being one of our best friends. And
Yeah.
it's just, there's
Chase
been
is the right
so
dude.
many people that engage at some point, and I quickly engage back. Like if somebody messages me, it pops up and I can answer, I
Mhm.
answer.
Yeah.
And dude, the amount of people who go, "Whoa, I can't believe you actually answered me." That's part of it. There's value in that. But at the same time, when you see all these people in real life, you better be the person that they've
That they're
become attached
expecting this to meet.
to.
Yeah.
Totally. Totally. And that's not the case. And the amount of people, Sarah brought this up. We were talking about some of the questions you had, and she said, it's really important that you stress how a lot of people you meet, they go, "Wow, like you're really the person you are in the videos. That's pretty cool."
Yeah. So it's easier to go about that way, because then you don't feel like there's anything that you have to just represent or present. You can just be you without having to think about it.
I agree, but it's not always that simple, and it's not always that straightforward. It's
In
hard
which way?
because here's the thing, dude. For most people who aren't complete narcissists,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to have some semblance of fame. Like you make videos and you're somewhere, and somebody's genuinely uncomfortable to be around you because they have you up on a pedestal because
Mm-hmm.
you've been in YouTube videos. That's awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
And it takes some social skill to deal with that, because you
Yeah.
can't write those people off. Like you can't tell them, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
you should not feel like this."
You
'Cause then
got you got to find that balance of being able to
Yep.
stay engaged but not give them too much and them take too much. Because
Yeah,
then because then it gets kind of awkward sometimes, right?
it does. I don't so much just worry about that.
Yeah.
It's almost, as corny as it sounds, dude. It's an honor to be like, when people ask for a picture, I
Yeah.
tell them I'll do a photo shoot with you, or they say, "Hey, can I bother you for a picture?" And I think, you're not
No.
bothering me by asking for a picture.
Right.
I'm not bothered at all, and that's hard for some people. And I've seen some people that, with a very little following, act like they're Brad Pitt. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
to myself, whoa, like, where are you coming from? You can't buy into that. At the end of the day, you ride a bike
Yeah.
and you're not that big of a deal. But in the moment, you're a big deal to this person, and you have to treat that with respect.
Yeah.
And that's important, And you've been with me when I've had to do that. How
Mm-hmm.
many times have you been here, dude? And we talk about going on a ride, and we know, let's not go to Slaughter Pen. We're going to go
Yeah.
somewhere else. And what do? We go to Slaughter Pen. And instead of riding, we end up talking to a bunch of people. And that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So now that you have established yourself quite well, we're in that point in the timeline. How do you go about choosing what brands you want to work with?
It's, for me, I've always tried to let those relationships develop as organically as possible.
Yeah.
And again, thankfully, I've always had that. I've always been able to do that. I've never really had to just take what I could get because I needed something. I think that's the first thing, is something for free isn't worth it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
And
Because
I
you
learned
get
this.
stuff all sent to you all the time. People are like,
Totally.
"Can you make a video on this?"
Well, and part of it comes back to what you said earlier about how you appreciate how I've managed this. And part of that is not being a shill for all these brands, not constantly jumping around and promoting all these things. And you have to pick and choose. And I've always been a fan of relationships. I would like to have long-standing relationships with people that I appreciate. First and foremost, Ari is a prime example. As we have this conversation, I don't see me representing any other bike brand until the end of time. I don't. Like I absolutely love what that brand's about. I love the people, how our relationship developed, how our relationship is growing. And it's afforded me a lot. Like it's helped me do a lot of things in this world. And I appreciate that. Crank Brothers, same, it just happened. Like it just was such an organic thing. And I love the products, but I love the people. Cushcore, like, dude, Dan at Cushcore, it's, it's to have a product that has made a massive impact on your riding. And that develops your relationship. Rob bought it. Rob spent over $1,000 on his Cushcore. And I'm like, bro, let's make some content. And we made a couple videos and they reached out and they said, man, that was great. Can we send you guys some? Yep. And I said, hell, send me some. My brother already bought it all. So I think for me, it's more, does it have a fit? Yeah. Does it make sense? And do I like what the brand's about? I'll give you a prime example. Helmets and clothing has always been kind of weird. And through Alexi Vermeulen, I got linked up with Sweet. And they're a small company. They don't have a huge budget. And they told me that right up front. I'm like, cool, this is what I want, or this is what I need. What can I buy it for? Yeah. And I think helped me get a couple helmets. But dude, I bought my full face and I bought some other stuff and I was happy to do it. And rolling into next year, I'm going to come back and say the same thing. Like, look, I'd like to get a couple more helmets. I want to put some cool vinyl kits on the helmets. I'd love to get you one. I'd love to get Rob one. Like I'd love everybody in our ecosystem to be on the helmets. What can you do for me? Yeah. And I'm sure I could get with another company and get 15 free helmets, but that's not what I want to do. I like their helmets. I like the way they look. I like the way they fit. I like the way the glasses go in.
Yeah, that full face is pretty sweet looking.
It's a great helmet, and I'm happy to pay for those things because I like them.
Now, with having established yourself on social media, especially on YouTube, especially with tutorials, there's always a clash of opinions, and sometimes the vitriol gets pretty intense. How do you deal with haters online initially when you first started, and how has that evolved to today?
Well, you know what I say, haters gonna hate.
They hate us because they hate us.
Yeah. Initially it got me, dude. You remember?
Yeah.
I got riled up. I took it very personally because I knew what I meant to say and I didn't understand the landscape and how it worked. And so I did my best to try to remedy them all. And I remember, man, one guy wrote me a novel on YouTube and he said, you have neither the time nor the inclination to answer these idiots. He said, it'll never end, dude. Don't waste your time. He said, you're not trying to hurt anybody. You're trying to help people. That's all you need to worry about. And that was big, man. That was big. Sarah talked about it a lot and tried to help. Rob tried to help. You tried to help. That guy's comment made a big impact. And I thought, you know what? Cool. Yeah. And that's a hard thing, especially in the YouTube space when I'm trying to help. I was only ever trying to help people. And I wasn't trying to create a living on YouTube. I wasn't trying to say something flamboyant that would get views to get paid. That never was the goal. And it still isn't the goal. And that's challenging because everybody wants to argue. And the more time you're in it, the more you realize that's just how people are. And, one way I look at it is it's cool that there's that many people that want to hate. Like that's pretty legit. You're doing something right. Yeah. But I think now I just rarely engage with those people. And I can't help myself sometimes. I'll make
Feel a little spicy.
I will. Like not too long ago, somebody said something. I don't remember the exact context, and it was talking about a few different people. And I just came back and I said, "Hey, just so we're clear here, who's the one person in this discussion that actually makes a living on a bike?" And that shut them right up.
Yeah.
And so, and well, I mean, you talk about social media. There's a prime example, Jason. Like such a great dude. Like become such a great friend through social media and because of YouTube videos.
Mhm.
And that, like thinking back and thinking about dudes like him and how impactful they've become in my life. Like, dude, go to our website. It's that dude. That guy wrote the copy for all of it. He's an amazing ad writer. And it was all through social media.
Yeah, I think the lesson for me watching you go through that was it makes sense in your head. And that's one of the things that separates a good coach from a great athlete trying to teach is being able to vocalize and explain a technique that's very complex, but also present it in a way that people of different backgrounds and different abilities can understand it. And you would have imagined that a 12-minute technique video on how to do one thing, you would have covered all those bases, but it just shows how vast the viewership is, and it's not always going to get across.
Completely. And that's the challenge digitally. Because
Yeah.
digitally, I can't see you. In
Yeah.
person, I can see you. When I'm explaining it and you make a funny face because
You
you're
know,
not
it's not
getting it,
clicking.
I know, and I
Yeah.
can deal with it. And that's you have to know going in YouTube, you can't do that. And that's part of why I haven't been doing really many how-tos anymore, because it's just, for one, I'm over giving it away for free. And second, there's just so many people out there doing it. Um, and there's no barrier to entry. Like they have no pedigree, they have no experience teaching,
Yeah.
but they're making a video telling you how to jump a bike, and everybody's watching it.
It's pretty wild, man.
It is, and I think just I talked to Sarah about this earlier too, about the whole haters thing, and I think the biggest challenge for me sometimes is why. Like I would love to
Why are
ask
they taking the time
why,
to do that?
dude. There's one guy in particular, this guy Len, who lives. And dude, this guy, I don't know what it is. I don't know what I ever did to the dude, but he has it out for me. And every opportunity,
Do you know where
every
he's from?
opportunity, he's here. No, he's
Oh,
here.
okay.
Oh, dude, every opportunity he does something. Like we posted a minority mountain bikers video, and he came on and he made some comment about how I didn't give Justice enough props. And I'm like, but he can
It
make his
wasn't your
own video. Not about him. But dude, he constantly, like if I post something in fast, he's constantly there. And I was riding one time and I saw this dude, and you might have been with me. There was a guy and his chick, and they were riding up, and I said something about, he was towing her on an e-bike. And I said something about it. He's like, "Oh, are you recording? You're probably going to monetize this." And I was like, "What? Where did that come from?" Turns out it was that guy. And he constantly, like, I left a sign up after a clinic. I
Yeah.
left a sign up, dude, and he posted about it in Slaughter Pen trails conditions, like ripping me apart, dude.
Like
And he's like,
leaving debris or
"How dare he does this? That guy's never picked up a shovel. He's never done anything. And who does he think he is?" And I just think to myself, what's your motivation, dude? And the worst part was everybody came in over the top and said, "Dude, what are you talking about? Pick up a shovel." The guy emptied his entire trailer, filled it with every tool Trailblazers has, and took it all over town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it just that, and some people will say, why would you even give that guy credit of saying his name? Just because I want people to have context and understand. Like that guy's just, I think he's bitter. He's a coach. He's a so-and-so certified coach. And I think he's bitter. And that's the way he deals with it. And that really gets under my skin, to call out a sign. Like I have a legitimate business, dude. I'm trying to help people, but you got to find that opportunity to just, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exhausting. I deal with all that shit on these socials for work. And
Oh, I'm sure.
anytime, and you know how tribal people can be with the brands that they like. It's like we post something about one brand, and then somebody will come in and start talking shit about it and say this brand's better. I'm like, dude, why are you taking the time to do this shit? There's other stuff you could be
That's
doing
the other
today,
thing
man.
is I think to myself, you found the ability to carve out that much time to give me a bunch of crap. Man, you got to have more going on in life.
Right?
But that's part of it. I had a meeting a few years back about doing some content, and
Yeah.
there was a pretty important person, and what they said to me was, Rich, other people want to do what you're doing. And I just thought to myself, well,
Then
I
do
can't
it.
believe you just said that, for one, like in a professional environment, but two, I'm sure they do because it's
Yeah.
awesome. But why aren't they doing it? And that was my
Yeah.
response to her. I was like, okay, then why aren't they doing it?
No
Yeah.
one's willing to put in that work. It's just like
Well,
anything else because people will buy a camera and say, I want to do all this stuff with it. And then they realize how much work is on the back end. And they're like, fuck this. Because people see your videos and think, oh, so you went out there, got on his bike, had someone record it, and boom, it just happened. It's not how it works, dude.
no, it's not how it works because you have to ideate up front. Then you have
Yeah.
to pitch it. You have to get funding. You have to manage it. You have to do all this stuff. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Like the work behind it. The coaching is a prime example. You talked about high level athletes transitioning into coaching, and that's a big deal right now. And there's a lot
Yeah.
more of them doing that because I think they see an opportunity to make money. And part of the challenge that I'm finding is they've spent their whole life being really good riding a bike. They've never trained in teaching.
Yeah.
They've never trained in the art of communicating. And that's lost. Like so many people think, oh man, this person's really good, so they can tell me what to do. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
They can explain what they're doing at a level that you'll never comprehend because you'll never ride as good as them.
Yeah. I remember, I think I told you this story when we used to own a CrossFit gym and we hired an Olympic lifting coach and they were pretty accomplished. I wasn't a part of the hiring process for this one, so I won't take the
You're not
fall.
going to own it.
But this person was really good at lifting, so they said, "Hey, teach the noon class." I went to the noon class and I attended the class, and they were teaching the snatch. And if anyone that's ever lifted, that's a very complex movement with a lot of very important phases that you have to nail. Otherwise, you're going to destroy yourself. And she gets in front of the class, grabs the barbell, and goes, "Yeah, today we're doing the snatch. This is where you go down, you do this, and then you do this, and you finish like that, and you stand up." And I was like, "We are fucked."
Yeah.
It's like, we need to take a
This
few
is going
steps
to go
back.
well.
Let's take a few steps back, and it's not their fault. They've never had to vocalize or communicate exactly what they're doing. They just intrinsically know by feel, and it's hard to be able to do that if you've never been asked to, told to, or tried to. So I think vetting your coaches and seeing what they can do and seeing if they can communicate that is the best thing you do to find a real coach. Because a
Yeah.
lot of these people just go to Instagram, oh, they've got all these shreddits.
Yeah.
This guy can rip. And then you meet them and they communicate just like that lifting coach. Like, oh, well, how do you bunny hop? You do this. Okay, well, what are you doing? I do this.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more to it. And people don't appreciate it because they don't have to necessarily. And like that coach, for example, I would argue they're in a much better position than a lot of other people because they're an elite level lifter.
Yeah.
So if they put in the work to learn how to communicate and teach the same way they did with becoming an elite level lifter, there's a chance they could become one of the best coaches ever.
Yeah.
But that's the challenging part that people don't want to embrace. And that's what's been challenging for me forever. That's why it's still just me.
Yeah.
The product is me, and I am a product of my life's experiences. And, one thing I try to get across to people is I spent 15 years teaching in the corporate world. That's why I can teach.
Yeah.
Not because I got a certification or I can ride well on a bike. There's a ton of people who can ride really well on a bike. Richie Rude's a prime example. One of the best to ever do it. I'm not hiring that guy to coach. He doesn't communicate well because he's never had to.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I didn't understand when we opened the gym, because to open a CrossFit gym, you have to go get your CrossFit level 1 certification.
Yep.
And everyone made a joke about it. And I was like, I don't know, man. These guys go in there, they take this class and they have to test out. I was like, why is that a joke? And then I went through the process and I was like, it's very, very basic. And that's the problem with the whole CrossFit realm of having a bad reputation, is a lot of these people see it as a opportunity to make money. So they get the certification and they open a gym and they pass the bare minimum test and they don't go beyond that. They don't do any kind of a continuing education or advance, and they just keep rolling from there. And that's why you have so many issues with CrossFit.
Well, therein lies the challenge with anything where certifications are involved.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's a business. I'm paying you for a certification. It's not in your best interest to not certify me.
Yeah.
You think about it, dude. What if CrossFit gave out 5% of certifications? Very few people would go because they know you can't, you won't get certified, but that doesn't work. That doesn't fit the business model. You know, our environment is the same. There's a lot of parallels to mountain bike coaching and CrossFit, in the sense that literally almost anybody could become a CrossFit coach. You pay your money, you go, and for the most part, you're going to get your certifications the same way in mountain biking. And as you explained with the snatch, you're now in a position to teach somebody to do something that can maim them for the rest of their life.
Yep.
You know where that doesn't happen? Golf.
Yeah.
You want to get better at golf, you hire a golf pro. Mm-hmm. You can't go buy a moniker of a golf pro. You have to earn it by playing for many years. And it's fascinating that it works that way. And even with it like that, it's not inherently flawed, because those people could say, okay, I got my level 1. This is the starting point, but I need to keep aspiring to grow and become good.
Sure.
But dude, how many CrossFit gyms did you go to where coaches thought, dude, I'm a really good coach. I got my level 1. I'm legit.
Yeah. I've been to a couple where I quit the workout because of the way they were coaching.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? This happened the other day. I saw this guy post a video of him doing a bar muscle up. And somebody was giving them shit about it. And I said, you know, it's not really a muscle up. That's more of a glide kip, which is a gymnastics movement where the feet go over the bar before they transition the torso over the bar. So you're using a different kind of leverage. And the person that posted the video responded to me and said, a what? Question mark, question mark, question mark, OMG. Yeah. And I looked at his profile because I didn't realize the video itself was him posting it.
Yeah.
So I went to his profile and he's a CrossFit level 2 and a CrossFit gym owner. I'm like, how are you a level 2 and don't know what a glide kip is? It's in the level 1 training materials.
Yeah.
That's just a perfect example of the certification process and how some people just take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame. A lot of people have asked if I'm going to do it. And I don't know. That's a tough one. And Rob was in a situation the other day where somebody asked that, you know, because this woman talked about coaching with somebody and, they're certified. They have all these certifications. He said something she said something to him about it. You know, do you have any certifications? And he said, I'm the certifier.
Nice one, Rob.
Yeah. And that's what we say is, no, we don't have, we're the certifiers.
We're the ones that put the stamp on the paper.
Yeah, it's our program.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great comeback.
So with all the social media garbage that happens, you know, you said initially you took it to heart quite a bit, and you learned to do it less and help yourself stay sane. How has that whole, from the beginning of your social media growth to now, how did you deal with all that, and how has that affected your mental health and having to deal with it? Like,
yeah.
Did you find certain things you had to do? Did somebody give you advice? Like, where did you find your peace with having to live within that cesspool of just stupid?
It's challenging. You got to work it every day, dude.
Yeah.
And you have to, I think, first accept you've put yourself in that world. You've put yourself in that world, and it inherently comes with risks. It comes with things that you have to deal with. And one of them is comparisons. And it can be difficult to not compare yourself to somebody who could be construed as a peer of yours. Are they posting something that you don't think is good, but they're getting 10x the likes and comments and views and all this different stuff? And that's very challenging. Mm-hmm. What I found was try to avoid structuring any sort of a deal around those metrics. So the more you can avoid being tied to those metrics, the better you are. And I've always tried to sell the quality of my engagement to people, meaning I may not get 1 million views and all these comments, but the views I get and the comments I get are going to be very real, and there will be solid interactions to that. And I think you try to revel in the moments where you get feedback from people. I get a lot of comments from people just randomly to say, thank you for all the stuff you're making. Thank you for showing us what it's like to do Little Sugar. Thank you for all the stuff you made to get us prepped. Thank you for showing us how hard Rule of 3 was. Like, thank you for being vulnerable and actually being you. And that all makes it worth it. I think in order to work that as well as possible, you have to create some limits. Like you have to find it within yourself to know when it's overwhelming. Like right now is a prime example, dude. I don't think I have any stories posted. That's somewhat rare for me, but I can tell you the last couple of years I go by feel. I'll post 50 stories a day, and then all of a sudden I'm just not feeling it for one reason or another, because I'm overwhelmed or I'm tired mentally and physically, and I don't post. And that's just it. I deal with it. And I'm not a slave to it. I don't have a structure where everything's all laid out. I just do it how I feel is right. And what I come back to is it's worked thus far. Yeah. So I don't need to recreate it because it's working. I just need to keep trying to work it as well as I can. And I think I'm in a more unique place than a lot of people because I have the liberty to do that. If you're trying to make a living off of it solely, I think it's way more challenging. Mm-hmm. And I've tried to structure my life to where I'm not dependent on it for my income.
With all the stress of having to deal with it and running a business, because you're basically doing like 3 things at once, dude. Because you're structuring deals. Mm-hmm. You're doing the social media thing.
Yep.
And you have a family.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of different avenues of inheriting stress. What kind of things do you do to cope with all that?
Sleep. I'm generally to bed between 8 and 9, sometimes 7:30. Yeah. I have zero issue going to bed early. I like to walk a lot. I get up in the morning, put my vest on, drive to Kohler, walk the rise.
How many days a week you do that now?
As many as I can. Yeah. Like as many as will fit. In a perfect week, I'd love to go to the rise 3 times.
Okay.
I've started running. It's horrible. One of the worst things in the world. It hurts so bad. It sucks. But I'm always happy when I'm done with it.
Yeah. Did you put those new shoes to work yet?
I did, dude. They're comfy. Yeah. They're like running on clouds.
It's crazy how the shoe technology has changed.
It is. It is amazing.
Because when I got into it, a year ago, I was like, I need a good pair of shoes. Yeah. And then I got online, started researching. I was like, it's like the bike industry now. You have gravel bikes, road bikes, mountain bikes, trail bikes, XC bikes, downhill bikes, and they have daily trainers, tempo runners, slow runners, fast runners,
Sarah,
marathon.
I said, I don't know how many pair of shoes Andy has, but he's got. She said, oh, great. Here we go. I said, no, I'm going to keep it low key. And I told her, though, when I bought them, I asked the lady, I said, like, how long will these last? And she's like, oh, probably about like 300 miles. Yeah. And I started doing some quick math thinking, wait a minute, that's not that long.
Yeah. especially for trail shoes, because you're running all the rocks and stuff. They get destroyed, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it makes a difference when you start putting them on back to back and trying them on. You're like, damn, this is crazy how much thought they put into the shoes now.
Yeah. Those were comfortable and I like them. And the running is very therapeutic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. I like to sit in the sun.
you do.
I like to see, and you've noticed that. I feel like vitamin D has a massive impact on me.
Hmm.
So when I can sit, like we're going to Phoenix, and being able to sit outside in the sun out there
Yeah,
in my shortest pair of swim trunks, just it makes me feel really good, and I like that.
you're like Kal-El,
What's
Clark
that?
Kent. You're like Kal-El,
Yeah,
Clark Kent. You got to have the sun.
I gotta have the sun, man.
So
Yeah, that helps.
how do you balance your time with the family, man?
Just we're dude.
Do you go by feel, or do you guys have like set days? He's like, we're gonna do this, 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 and this.
We have it goes both ways. Like Friday nights are movie nights. Ever since
Yeah,
COVID, it's been the pizza and movie night. You've been here for many of those,
yeah.
so that's important. We'll do a decent amount of movies now, just because it's dark early.
Hmm.
We wind down. I took Dex today to gymnastics, so I find time to hang out. I'll take him to the skate park. Sarah leads a lot of that, obviously with homeschooling him, but anytime we can go hang out, like this weekend, I got done with my clinic and we went and got some brunch at Homegrown and then went to the coffee shop. Like
Yeah,
hanging out at the coffee shops, that's a big one. And that I really enjoy that, especially now with Dex being 9.5 and just having such a personality.
yeah.
It's really fun to hang out. And we'll go to Phoenix this weekend and we'll be there for a while. We'll come back for Christmas and then we'll go back to Phoenix to go to Anaheim 1 Supercross and hang out and do some other things. So
Nice.
we'll get a lot of time. Like usually in the winter, we get a bulk of time together doing some sort of cool adventure.
Yeah,
And then we get it again in the summer. And
that's cool.
it's great. It really is. And I'm very lucky the way our life is structured that now, especially a lot of times we're working together. We've been doing a
Yeah,
lot of the family content. And so we get to spend all this time together working. And then it's to get like, we're going, having fun as a family and getting paid to do it. That's hard to beat.
now, not everybody has been in that position where they work with either their spouse, their girlfriend, boyfriend, and your whole entire family. Was it hard to figure out what boundaries to set? Like
No, I
where is it? We stop talking about work and it's just us, or does it bleed into each other too much?
I don't think so. Sarah does at times.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about work things. So in the middle of the night, if we wake up, I'll just talk about something, and she's like, "No, this is not the time." She she really wants that structured time.
Yeah.
From 10 to noon, we're going to sit down, and here's the list of things we're going to talk about.
Hmm.
So trying to have respect for that.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's not hard. And then moments where I come up with an idea and I start talking to her about the idea when we're having pizza on movie night. She's, no, this is not the time for that.
Yeah.
So it's a constant process. It's not hard. And part of it too is your perspective on it. I come back to, dude, we work together as a family. That's pretty rad. I'll deal with some things. I'll deal with trying to get better about when I talk about things. And a lot of it comes back to me when we go do these things. You've been with me on shoots. I get a little gnarly and I have to back it down with Dex, especially because
Yeah.
he's a kid, man.
He doesn't
And
understand.
yeah, I got to try to keep it as fun as possible for him. And
Hmm.
that obviously makes it better for Sarah. And I think we're finding a bit more of a groove now
Yeah.
because he's a little older. He can do more, he can ride longer, and he has a better understanding of how impactful it is to us.
That's good.
Yeah.
Little man's catching on.
He is. It's still a bit of a struggle to get him involved more. I mean, dude, you know enough about the space. Think about it, dude.
Yeah.
If I got him to do more videos and we kind of focus more on him, that could blow up. Kids channels are massive.
Yeah. You know what's also kind of mellowed out is shooting with you and Rob.
I think we're better with that now. I think we got some of that pent up trauma out of the way.
There's been many times like, man, I should have kept rolling.
Oh my dude, think about that. Think about the behind the scenes stuff that you could have put together.
Right.
Dude, imagine if you were rolling that one morning up here before their clinic when he didn't want to eat the food that I brought.
All right, to put this into context, Rob and Rich at the time, I mean, they still do have very different eating habits. And Rob was not feeling well that morning. He was tired, a little grumpy. And Rich was in charge because we were all on a trip. You weren't living there at the time, right?
No,
you weren't living
there.
there.
We were at an Airbnb. I brought food for breakfast. I had this sweet potato casserole with pastured sausage. Dude, it was so good. You ate it and you know it was good.
So Rich was in charge of lodging and food. And Rob wakes up for breakfast. And he goes to look for his Cinnamon Toast Crunch and some milk. And he's got all this homemade healthy stuff. And Rob's like, where's the cereal? And then Rich goes, no, we don't need that. You have this. You should eat it. He goes, Andy ate it. He liked it. And I was like, what? Why are you throwing me under the bus?
Are you right under the bus, dude?
Well, it escalated very quickly to the point to where Rob slammed the door shut and was like, fuck you, Rich. I'm out of here. He went and got his Cinnamon Toast Crunch and came back. I was like, you're so unthoughtful. You didn't even think about me when you're making the food list. It was funny.
Good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
We can look back and laugh. We're all alive still.
Yeah.
So you said earlier you were born in, 63? So you're fairly old now.
78, dude. I'll be 48 in 2 months, January 11th, 48.
Yeah. So I reckon the body's been a changing on you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're not kidding. From like 43 on, things got real.
Just don't recover quite as well.
Not even close, dude.
Yes.
Like not even close.
It sucks, but how has that changed your fitness goals? How has that changed your training? And what were some of the hardest things of having to let go that you liked doing in the past to better set yourself up for longevity?
The goals haven't changed a whole lot. The goal is just be the best I can be given all the circumstances. I've always been very good about like striving for homeostasis, meaning I have to be realistic with the amount of time I have to train, the amount I like food, just things like that. And so I've had to dial back the output, and that's tough for me because I love training. So 20s, 30s, like, dude, I went hard. Like I would do some of the gnarliest Metcons ever. I'd do huge rides, and I was fine with that because I liked it and I could get away with it then, but now I can't. So I have to look at now my goals are be in good enough shape to execute my work physically. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is riding. I still have to be able to ride well. And from a technique standpoint, dude, I'm riding as well as I ever have. So the better shape I can be in, the stronger I can be, the fitter I am, the better it's going to be. But clinics, like long weekends of clinics, there's a lot physically and there's a lot mentally. And so what I've tried to do is keep it as simple as possible. So I've tried to move as much as I can. The walking helps. Starting to run a little bit more, trying to ride a decent amount. Like there was a stretch where I wouldn't really do any big rides. It was all small little stuff here and there and filming. So I've tried to do some bigger rides, especially with Little Sugar. But I think from a strength training standpoint, I've gotten so simple, and it's an upper push pull and
Mm-hmm.
a lower. And I'll do that maybe, I'll get maybe 3 of those days in a week.
Okay.
So in any given week, I'm getting like 2 uppers and 1 lower, or 2 lowers and 1 upper.
Are you going pretty heavy? You just
No,
finding a
no.
moderate weight and just maintaining reps,
Yeah, just, well, it's
grease in
all
the groove.
relative. Yeah, it's all relative, I think. But no,
Yeah.
I would not say I'm going heavy. And part of it is I spent years bodybuilding. So, like, from a muscle standpoint, dude, like the other day, I went to J Street, just love it, man. Old school iron. And I was pumping. Yeah. I mean, I was decent back then. I had some decent mobility, some decent strength. There's not a chance in hell I could do that now, but it doesn't really matter. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll do a lot of dips. I've been doing a lot of single arm presses. So I like single arm incline presses, a ton of push-ups. I love push-ups. I love ring rows. I love pull-ups. I love renegade rows with dumbbells. That's one of my favorites. And then I'll usually go, like if I'm going to J Street, I'll do some really specific lat pull downs with different grips. And I'm working in like a 12 to 15 rep range, really good form. And then pull ups, I'll just go one shy of failure.
Yeah.
Pressing's the same. I'm trying to work in the 12 to 15 rep range, be really specific with the movement. And then a ton of like strict curls and tricep work. So I like now seated incline dumbbell curls.
Mm-hmm.
And dude,
Get
I
that
can
extra
wear those
stretch.
out. Dude, great stretch, but like
Yeah.
25s and just work in the 15 plus rep range. Holy
Yeah.
shit. I don't need to get bigger. I want to keep some shape.
Yeah.
A lot of laterals to get that good cap on the shoulder, and then the pec deck to get the reverse delt going.
When's the last time you did any kind of a clean, power clean, or
A long time,
something? Yeah.
long time. And I will get back to that.
Yeah.
I just, I've gotten so out of it that it's going to be a process getting back in.
Dude, that sucks because I just started doing it and I did power cleans and then worked my way into a moderate weight and did 3 touch and goes for a few sets.
Yeah.
And I felt like I moved well. I felt like my form was okay.
Yeah.
But the weight that I was pulling, I was just like, dude, this is sad. But
Dude,
you gotta accept it, man.
I power cleaned 135 a couple weeks back because
Yeah.
Sarah was working with it, doing something. Oh my God, that felt heavy, dude. I just thought, whoa, this is rough.
Yeah. And you've got how much over your head in the snatch position in this pick?
That's a lot. I don't know exactly what it is, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was a heavy triple. I remember that. That was in Oklahoma City. That was a heavy triple overhead. And yeah, I would like to get back to that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think I will. I love kettlebells. I love working with kettlebells. And I would like to start to incorporate those more. Like for the lower stuff, I love unilateral movements. Like I'm doing
Mhm.
a ton of single leg dumbbell deadlift and just lightweight, really, really specific with the movement. And as much as I hate them, Bulgarians, like rear leg elevated split squat,
Mhm.
I'll do 5 sets of each of those movements and I'm pretty wrecked. I've been doing a lot of heels elevated squats with a dumbbell in the front rack,
Yeah.
just trying to get a little bit more knee stability.
Did anything happen, or was there a specific moment where you thought, "Man, I am actually getting old, and I gotta tone it down a little bit with the training"?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say 44, 45. I really started to notice that the recovery just wasn't there as much.
Yeah.
And then I would say the last year and a half, I've been on this very similar split that I've been talking about, just because I feel like it keeps me in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
And it's enough with all the other activity I'm doing. But it's it's very clear to me that I have to stay on top of my protein intake as a prime example. Like I am very diligent to get 180 grams of protein in a day, at least, if not more, because there's no way that I'll recover. And I'm pretty much, I need at least 72 hours between upper body sessions, at least. And the lowers, I can probably get away with them a little sooner because I'm not going heavy. I can't train legs heavy because then it wrecks me and I can't do anything else.
Yeah, that's when I figured out I got to tone it down. Was I think the third time in a row that it happened, I went heavy on back squats, and then the next day I would just do something stupid like bend over to grab something, and my back would just go out. I'm like, dude, this is absolute nonsense.
Yep.
And
That's
the
why,
only correlation was the back squat. So I haven't done heavy back squats in a while, and that incident hasn't happened in a while.
dude, heavy back squats wreck me. Heavy fronts wreck me. Just rip my midline apart. And that's why I prefer more the unilateral stuff, because it'll work a little bit more stability. It'll keep me from going too heavy. And I feel like there's decent crossover to riding.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about it a lot, and I would like to structure a program that is a little bit more broad, that has some more metcons, just because I like training in that pathway and I've lost it.
Yeah.
Like anytime I try to do something in that realm, dude, I get slapped in the face quickly. Like it's not there.
Yeah.
And I want to get that back. Just that general level of fitness I want. That's why I'm trying to run.
A little bit of intensity at all?
It's funny, dude. I'll get the intensity from a bodybuilding perspective.
Yeah.
Like I'll get really intense when I'm doing that stuff, just because I did it for so long and I love it. And I want to mix that with some more metabolic conditioning type of stuff. Work with the kettlebells. Like, I love Turkish get-ups, man. There was a time in my life where for probably 8 years, I did more Turkish get-ups than I could possibly count. And I want to do those again because I think they're very effective, but it's challenging because you have to walk this fine line of recovery.
Yeah.
And for me, that's difficult because I get locked in the moment and I go harder than I should, and then I'm wrecked. And that impacts everything. And I'm like you, where there's certain things, like for me, the piriformis or the glute med, oh, dude, it gets so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
And it makes me depressed. Like it affects me that much. And if I don't get a lacrosse ball or that thing that sticks on the wall or the Kong dog toy, and just brutalize myself to try to break that up, I'm not right.
There's this thing. You ever heard of the chirp wheel?
No.
It's a massage roller, but it's this massive wheel with some foam on it. That brand makes this new back massage table. It's called the Contour. I'll send you the link. I'm thinking about buying one, dude, because that's my biggest problem is
dude,
I've got that
all the back issues.
Yeah, I got that herniated disc, and ever since I got hurt in football, it's just always popped up. And my biggest issue is my low back, man.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Well, and I think that's so many people. Here's what I'd like to do, and we've talked about this, is I want to lean more into wellness at 50 and beyond. And it's such a strange time because I follow a lot of influencers in that space. And part of it is motivation. That's the first thing, is older dudes who are training and doing well. Well, then I have to start looking at them in a bit more discerning fashion, because I know some of them are on TRT or peptides or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Like I don't want to do any of that until I have absolutely no choice. And what I can tell you is, dude, when I hit those protein numbers with good solid protein, and I get my 10 grams of creatine, good creatine a day, it's gnarly. And I stay hydrated, that's gnarly. Like, dude, it works. It works. And I think to myself, if you're sleeping well, you're eating pretty well, and you're training strategically, if there's not a problem, if you don't have a major issue, I don't know that you need to go that route.
Yeah. I would like to stay away from that stuff for as long as I can too. My biggest challenge this past year, since I've been so busy, was being able to, because consistency is basically the key for all this. You don't have to do a whole lot, just do something. And
Yep.
the hardest thing for me to let go of this year was, one, I haven't been on the bike at all. Dude, I looked at my Strava and I've got maybe like 1,500 miles outside this year, which is abysmal for me. And being in the garage to work out, I normally spend 2 hours. And that's not 2 hours of just intensity the whole time, but it's
No.
the amount of time that I need to get all the movements that I want to get in done. So now I'm to the point where I have maybe 45 minutes to an hour max, and I got to condense things, and I got to pick certain days to where I've I've had to take it back so much that maybe I go in there just for some bench pressing for some pull-ups, and that's done. I'm done. I have to be done. I
Yeah.
got to get out, and that's been a hard transition for me, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. The
And
mental.
your body can't handle either. Like the amount of volume that I would do with resistance back in the day just doesn't work for me now.
No. No. And that's tough, man. And
Yeah.
you have both sides of that. Like you have people that they can't tone it down accordingly,
Hmm.
but then you have people on the other end of the spectrum who just don't do anything.
Yeah.
And they look at it as, oh, it's so overwhelming. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And I would really like to be able to provide more insight for those people, like really handhold, provide specific guardrails of good, better, best, dude. It's
Yeah.
good, better, best. Like you think, oh my God, I need to do this hard 75 and completely change everything. No, like what I would tell people is eat, don't
Hmm.
overeat. That's the first thing. So if you stop overeating the bad stuff, you'll make a huge difference. Uh,
Sleep too. Like you said, you sleep a lot. Not enough people get enough sleep, man.
dude, and imagine, I mean, look at this, dude. Imagine if I didn't sleep, how bad I'd look. That's what I come back to is like if there's a night where I don't sleep well, dude, I look
Yeah.
10 years older. And you have to make it a priority. The sleep thing is
Yeah.
probably the biggest for people because my thing goes off at 8 o'clock. My phone
Do you,
alarm goes off at 8 and it says time to wind down for bed. And people see that and go, what?
yeah. Mine goes off at like 9:30.
Yeah,
You've been religious with checking your numbers in the morning on Athletic?
oh, done. I haven't checked them since Little Sugar. I'm over it, dude.
Every once in a while I'm doing stuff and I feel like shit, I'll be like, that explains.
Yeah.
It's pretty spot on, dude.
I was getting too caught up in it.
Yeah, you have to back off every once in a while. I
Yeah.
got onto the wormhole of YouTube the other day, and I started watching all these videos because I got one video on heart health for people athletes over 40,
Yeah.
and they were talking about the study they did where people were on bikes all the time, and the ones that were putting in the most intensity were at the most disadvantage because they didn't give themselves enough time to recover
Yeah.
for the next bout of intensity. So the more of that story was, the older you get, the more zone two, zone like high zone two, low zone three stuff you can do and be okay with it, and less of the zone four, zone five stuff. Still do it, but you can't do it back to back to back to back. You have to have enough hours in between to let your body recover to be able to handle that stress again. And this morning we went on a ride, and it was a windy day, dude. And we
Yeah.
had this head crosswind coming through, and I'm in the front pulling, and the way the wind was hitting, I felt this on my chest, and I'm thinking to myself, "Is that my heart, or is that my jersey?" Of course, it was just after the day I was watching all these stupid videos, right?
Yeah.
And I go, "Man, I need to turn these cameras on just in case I'm about to fucking
Oh my
fall off
God.
my bike." So I drop off in the back, and when we turned and got out of the wind, it went away. It was the wind
Oh,
pulling my jersey like this.
scary, man.
But I was like thinking about it because the last time I went to Tulsa Tough, I saw a bunch of the guys that I raced the year before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and one of them wasn't there. And I said, "Hey, where's Danny?" He
Oh,
said, "Man, Danny was on a group ride and just fucking had a heart attack in the middle of the group ride. And they weren't even going hard."
dude,
So
that
that's scary
happened.
when you start getting to this age.
that happened to a dude. I worked with these guys, this Rooster Racing crew in Arizona,
Yeah.
and that happened to one of their guys.
Just never know, man.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Yeah, and like you said, you don't know. You try to do what you can, and I don't look too deeply into zones. I never have. I just go. And a lot of the time I was training for Little Sugar, it was zone two, dude. Like I was gnarly, big zone two. Well, now I've been on the e-bike a lot, and bro, I'm pinning it at times. And so I'm like threshold for, I mean, dude, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I'll stop for a little bit and then I'll rip another section. And I don't really think much about it. And I just come back to, I think there's some advantage to that. Like there's a plus side to that interval type of training I'm doing. But I don't know.
Well, I'll keep you up to date if the studies, if I find anything weird. But like they said, you can have the intensity. You can go as hard as you want, as hard as you're able to, but give yourself a couple of days before you do that again. It's not like we were younger.
Yeah, and it's not, at least on the e-bike, it hasn't been that gnarly. I've never gotten to the point where I'm just crushing myself for that long. I mean, I guess it could get there, but part of the goal for running is to be able to do some sprints. Like I want to get enough miles in where I'm pretty acclimated to running, where I can do like 1, maybe 2 solid sprint workouts a week. Because that I've looked at enough to know, dude, you do a hard sprint workout or 2 a week, that has massive impacts.
Did I tell you about my buddy in the Olympics?
No.
They're at work and the Olympics were on, and it was 100 meter. And there was a young buck in the office who started talking shit. And my buddy, who's my age, is 46, was like, you can't outrun me. These fools go out in the parking lot and do a sprint in the parking lot. My buddy fucking tore his quad.
Oh.
Because he hadn't done a sprint in ages, dude.
No.
This dude, cold, got up out of his office chair, ran into the parking lot to do a sprint, and just tore his shit.
He deserves that.
Someone had a picture of it, and you see him running, and all of a sudden, and him falling over into a truck.
Oh, that's bad, dude. I don't want any part of that.
Yep. All right, brother. It is getting late. We are 2 hours in.
I can't believe it, dude. That's a quick 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, dude. Is there going to be more of these? What's the plan?
I think so. I've talked to a couple other people on socials to see if they would be down for this, and they said they were. So based on my schedule and getting people on board, I think there will be more.
I'd like to see it, man.
Yeah.
You should get Rob Drew on.
Of course, dude. The Rob Drew, the South Mountain Maven.
I think he'd be a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been recording some. That's a good picture right there. Look at that.
Little man's growed up right there.
He is. I like how you lay out the pictures to coincide. That's good.
I would leave with that pic.
Oh,
Let
boy.
you know I love you guys.
That's it right there. You don't have another one hiding?
What do you mean, dude?
Dude, I know you got another picture hiding. I know it, dude.
All right. So
I know your phone picture.
This is my All right, man. Maybe I'll bring that up.
You got it, dude. Come on. Yeah. I'm prepared for it.
Where is it?
There's no better way to close it out.
That is my Carl ID for Rich Drew in his modeling days. Look at that knit top. Way ahead of his time. Look at the expression. Is that blue steel? Is that Magnum? I don't know.
That's Magnum right there. The highlights in the hair. Man.
I don't know if that's is that introspective or is that concern? What is that expression there?
Oh, that's so introspective. That was the 90210 era right there.
That's amazing, dude.
So that was my best Jason Priestley.
Amazing.
Hang on, don't let that go. I got to capture this. I'm gonna post that and tell everybody you got to go watch to see that one. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me humble, Andy.
Hey, love you, brother. We'll do more of these too.
I love it, dude. Well done. I can't wait to hear people's feedback on it and put it out there. All right, dude. Give your best to the fam.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
Jason.
No, come on, dude. You got to do better than that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Jay Moore. No, I can see it. I can see it a little bit.
Yeah, now that he mentioned it.
Nice.
All right, brother. Love you, man.
Love you. Have a good night.
See you later.
Later.